doing is return to, if I can ask you to
Thank you.
start. Thank you very much.
Just speak here into here. Good evening. My name is Reeton Banerjee. Full name is Hithendranath Banerjee, but Reeton's fine. I'm not asking anybody to break their teeth or trying to pronounce my name. Just a couple of things about me. I studied mathematics at school. I trained as a maths teacher. Before I did that, I studied business. Well, I did my master's in business admin in America. I taught economics in an American university before I started work in California during the dot-com eras. So my background is in international business, technology in particular during the whole internet era. And then after the bubble burst, I arrived back to this country and trained as a teacher, retrained as a teacher of mathematics. And I spent 7 years doing that, and I left full-time teaching as an assistant headmaster for a London secondary school. So education is very important to me. But a couple of things that I want you to understand. Not only is it education that's important to me, but it's also our NHS. I have an elderly parent. My father passed away a number of years ago, and I saw firsthand the care and attention that our NHS gave really to us, not just to my father, but also to us as a family, and the strains that it took off for us. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here. That's one of the reasons why I want to be your representative to ensure that we actually defend our NHS properly and ensure that it's actually changing in the way that we ourselves are changing as we live longer. And the last thing that I'd like you to understand as well, that I have experience in campaigning against infrastructure projects. I've been campaigning against the third runway for Heathrow Airport, and I've been campaigning against the tunnel underneath Stonehenge, which is a national monument of ours. And the government would like to build a tunnel under it. So I've been working hard on that, and the reason I mention it is because of the Lower Thames crossing, which is hugely important for us. And I can bring you my experience on that and ensure that there's a couple of things that we can focus on. Really, the air pollution that such a project will create for us, and the impacts that has for our health and our education, and also the ability of promoting a proper business case for any such project, because right now I don't see one happening. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, you can definitely hear me at the back? Yep.
Yeah.
The Green Party aims to be inclusive, not just for the privileged people at the front, but hopefully for everyone. My name is Simeon Harmon. I'm from Stamford Hope, just that way. I was born in Basildon Hospital. I lived most of my life in this constituency. I went to Gable Hall. I went to Palmer's College. I worked in Lakeside most of my life. I want to represent this constituency because I love this constituency. I've always lived here, and I want to make sure it's safe for wherever future come through. And there are a lot of dangers over the hill. I'm the first Green Party candidate to stand in this constituency. Because of that, the Green Party has no voice in this constituency before. So what the Green Party has to say has been interpreted and reported to you in different ways. My aim throughout this debate is to make sure that the Green Party is represented what we really say and what we really stand for. And my honest and genuine and realistic belief that the Green Party is the most honest, genuine and realistic party that you can vote for at the moment. For example, the NHS. NHS is the most important creation in this country. It keeps us all well and make sure that wherever you are looked after. You are a human being and you deserve the right to your own health. It's not being properly funded. It's not being looked after, and it's being overly privatised. I advise anyone to look up the NAILOR plan. It's an incredibly dangerous situation that threatens to pick apart the NHS and shrink it until there's nothing more left. And that is completely unacceptable. It's clearly unacceptable for my granddad, who was recently in hospital. It's unacceptable for anyone's kids in hospital at the moment. It's not something that will happen under my watch and under the Green Party's watch. Education, currently not receiving enough funds either. It is incredibly important that our children, whatever strengths they have, whatever weaknesses that they have, are properly looked after and properly cared for in school and properly educated and given the time to be educated. My party would cancel any cuts done to schools, and would aim to build on children's strength and make up weaknesses, whatever the topic, not just maths, English, and science, but across the way, so we can create a properly diverse culture. Taxes, again, realistic. You cannot fund these things properly unless you have the money to do so. We want to tax fairly. We want to tax properly, so everyone gets a fair chance. We can live properly. Live in a society where everyone is treated fairly, and everyone given a fair shot. You need to be able to fund these services if you want them to be there for your children, or when you're not well, or when you want to call a policeman, or when you want to do anything. Thank you very much.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. First, good evening everybody. I'm Stephen Metcalfe, and it has been my honour and privilege to be your Member of Parliament for the last 7 years. And I'm delighted to be back here in this hall, perhaps a little sooner than we might have thought. I sat on this stage 2 years ago. We might have thought it would have been 5 years, but no, here we are, discussing some of the great challenges the country faces. And just before I move on, can I thank Churches Together in Basildon for all their hard work in pulling this evening together. It is much appreciated, I hope, by us and by you, who will hear what we have to say in answer to your questions. Obviously, I'm seeking re-election. I want to continue the work that I've been doing both locally and nationally. Now, you will have heard that this is the most important election in a generation, and that the next 5 years are going to present some of the greatest challenges that this country has ever faced. And that's really what this election is about. It's about how we should approach the forthcoming Brexit negotiations. That's at the heart of this. We took a monumental vote last summer, 23rd of June, where the British people expressed their democratic view that they wish to leave the EU. And it is now incumbent upon all of us to actually deliver on that and make it happen. That referendum was conducted in the rich tradition of democracy that we have in this country, and I see no reason why we should not now execute that decision. But it's how do we do that? How do we go about that, and who should lead us? Well, obviously, I have a very strong view about who should lead us in that negotiation. Someone who has experience at the top table, who understands some of the challenges, and will be able to lead us through what is going to be a very complex situation. It is going to be difficult. There is talk of hard Brexit, soft Brexit. What I'm sure we all want is the best possible Brexit. A Brexit that enables us to continue to trade, continue to be part of Europe but not part of the European Union, that enables us to share the things that we want to share but not, and regain our independence and sovereignty where we want it. And that's what lies underneath this election. That's what's promoted it. But of course there's much more to this than just that. We've also got to ensure our economic future. We are still spending more than we earn, year on year, which is why, unfortunately, our borrowing still rises. We are closing that deficit, but it is a slow process. But it's only really closed by having a strong economy. There is no such thing as government money. There is only money that is earned, that you and I earn and pay in taxes, that the government then spends on our behalf on public services. To kid ourselves that there is some magic money tree somewhere else is unrealistic. And so it is also vitally important that we continue to support our economy. But locally as well, I want to continue the work that I've been doing. I work very closely with our schools. I engage with them, I support them, I present opportunities for them to inspire their pupils and to raise their aspiration. I want every school in my constituency to enable every student to reach its full potential. I've run projects such as the Never Forget project, which has helped students engage in World War I commemorations through the Basildon Twinning Association. I've been challenging our local health providers to improve the leadership at Basildon Hospital, and I'm very pleased that we've seen great improvements. But there are a lot of changes still to be dealt with, and I'm sure there will be questions about that this evening. I had the honour of getting justice for my constituents over the time that I've been Member of Parliament. I stood up and for the interests of former Vistian pensioners and eventually got them 30 million, or nigh on 30 million pounds worth of compensation. I've helped residents, 10,000 residents over the last 7 years on individual cases ranging from having their rubbish collected to getting access to innovative and rare cancer treatments. I supported numerous local charities. Most recently I learned the jive and the tango to raise money for St Luke's Hospice. Yes, there is video of that if you really want to see it. I fought off development not far from here at Little Chowdhury and Hall and took part in the public inquiry. I've worked with the council to change their mind about the development of Kentview Road. And when it comes to the Lower Thames crossing, I have stood side by side with residents and presented alternative arguments day after day after day. And if I'm fortunate enough to be re-elected, I will continue to do that. So whatever the challenge, whatever the issue, if I am re-elected on the 8th of June, I will stand with you here locally to defend our interests here, but also stand with Theresa May as our Prime Minister to defend our interests both nationally and internationally in those forthcoming negotiations. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So, I'm Byron Taylor, and it's a pleasure to meet you all, but again, thank you to Churches Together for bringing this event together this evening. I've lived in Basildon since 2011, and since I moved here, I've been active in the community. I was active in the campaign to keep Pitsea Swimming Pool open, which the Conservative Council closed. I was leading the campaign to get the streetlights turned back on at night when the Conservative County Council turned them off. I was active in the campaign to try and keep Corriton Oil Refinery open, which again, the government wouldn't help, and it went to the wall. At every turn where I've been active in this community, and I've been a councillor on the council, it feels as though we are not being listened to. And that angers me, because I hear the voice of residents and I see what's happening in our community, and I want to know why South Essex is not getting a better deal. And I believe we can do better, and I believe that Labour can make that case properly. Because Labour has some key priorities locally. First of all, the NHS. There are plans to close Southend A&E. There are plans to close Orsett Hospital. They're talking about centralising all of those services at Basildon Hospital. Yet twice last winter, Basildon Hospital was closed because there weren't enough beds, which means there weren't enough staff. How are we going to cope with yet more pressure being heaped onto our hospital? That is a question I have not had an answer to, and Labour will reverse the cuts to our NHS services. In terms of our schools, there's proposals to cuts to our schools. Here in South Basildon, and bear in mind this constituency is made up of South Basildon and East Thurrock, here in South Basildon there's proposals, according to the Department of Education, to take 3.7 million out of school budgets. In East Thurrock, it's 2.6 million. These are huge cuts. Across Essex, £77 million is being cut from school budgets. That's the equivalent of 2,000 teachers. And the question is, where is this going? Where is our money going? And why are we having these cuts to our services? Because our children deserve better. And so I believe that we can invest. And I believe that Labour has a plan to invest in the economy. If you looked at the manifestos that were launched, the Labour Party produces a costing manifesto, unlike our Conservative opponents. And we made it clear where the money is coming from. Because there is money. And Stephen talked about the taxes that we all pay, but there are businesses as well. Corporation tax is at 19%. It was 26% when Labour last left office, and actually we're far lower than any other G7 economy. That should be restored to restore the monies to our NHS and to our schools, because frankly, here in South Essex, we deserve better. So, on Thursday, you'll have a choice. Labour believes that our community deserves better. We believe in houses for our young people. We believe in protecting pensioners, protecting the winter fuel allowance. We believe that together we can make Britain better and fairer. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and again thank you to Churches Together for putting this event together. I'm Peter Whittle. I am the Deputy Leader for UKIP. I am honoured and delighted to have been chosen to stand here. I'm from London. I live in Woolwich. What I would say, before I won't give you a whole span of my career, but I was in the media for many years, making television programmes, and then as a print journalist, one of those despised, just slightly more despised than the people like us up here, politicians. But I would say that being deputy leader of my party means that I get a lot of media opportunities, which would therefore also allow me to get a much higher profile for this constituency. It's not to be underestimated how useful that can be. In terms of what we are saying, I'm offering to the people of South Basildon and East Thurrock exactly really the same as for all the people of Britain, because in fact I think that our concerns are roughly the same. And they really are 5 pledges in brief to start with. First of all, we are the only party that truly believes that we should seriously reduce migration. And we as a party believe that therefore we should have a target of 0 net migration within 5 years. That is something that no other party has put any kind of proposal forward to deal with. Secondly, we believe in the NHS, we believe solely in the NHS, and that in fact the money that we would put into the NHS, which would be 11 billion a year, would actually come from reducing our very bloated foreign aid budget. Third, we would also protect British culture. By that I mean we have to make sure that there is just one legal system that rules over the whole country. There shouldn't be competing legal systems which are gradually taking root in Britain. This simply should not happen. And finally as well, I would say that we also have to have a modern and fair democracy. So obviously what that means is that we would work towards a system of proportional representation, which means that smaller parties get a say, get into Parliament too. At the moment it is a kind of cabal between the 2 major parties. This is simply undemocratic. We would abolish the House of Lords and we would set up an English Parliament. I think the time has come for England to be treated exactly the same as Scotland and Wales. And finally, when it comes to Brexit, I think that it's fair to say that our credentials on Brexit are pretty much beyond reproach. We are the only party that really, really, truly wants to get for the British people what they voted for last year in the referendum, which is control of our borders, control of our legal system, and the ability to make fair trade deals with the rest of the world. And that is what we will absolutely make sure happens. And that is why we need to have UKIP MPs in Parliament. And that's why I would be honoured to represent you there. Thank you very much.